Hello there. I'd like to do a very quick covering of one of the most important papers in recent memory, human history, whatever. Mastering Atari, Go, Chess, and Shogi by Planning with a Learned Model by Julian Schwittfeige and a whole bunch of awesome other people, many of which are quite famous and wealthy. Not at all important. I'd like to point out that this fellow here is incredibly young and is a legend and has a YouTube channel. You should subscribe. But this paper has been covered by a few people. It is not blown up to the level of something like GPT-3 or AlphaGo, and yet I think it is in many ways, like the Mary Janes, a gateway to many other delightful experiences. The analogy went off the rails. Where do I want to start talking about this paper? I'd like to start it with me, because why not be an icon of vanity? By stating that I'm dumb, okay? Like, in the IQ, I actually don't know what my IQ is, but I do not have sort of raw processing power. I can't outthink you, I have to outwork you. Which is one of the reasons I'm so enraptured with, I use the word enraptured in a sentence, whatever. But that's one of the main reasons I'm really excited and hopeful about artificial intelligence, is because I know where I stand in comparison to humans, and I know where humans stand in comparison to the problems we face as a species. I'm going to not necessarily criticize, but point out some sort of plot holes, some issues with our mathematics, with our science, with our philosophy, and things like that, because I'm dumb enough to have encountered them myself, right? This is kind of not perfectly, but tangential to, or orthogonal to, whatever. I'm dumb, okay? Here we go. Autism. Autism is kind of, it's the system 1, it's the system 2. System 1, things are just natural. You just understand the world and things make sense to you. System 2, they don't. You have to calculate, you have to think, you have to process, you have to derive reality for yourself. And that's exhausting. And you are, in that process, stupid. You don't know the answer, you're trying to figure it out. So you literally are ignorant, incompetent, incapable, what have you. And the question kind of is can you get good? Can you get good? What is this, Dark Souls? But can you learn? Can you become competitive? Basically, right? This is America. Welcome to the capital hellscape, capitalistic capital of hellscapes. Nailed it. So that's kind of where one of the angles I'm approaching artificial intelligence from is I have some issues. I don't think sanctification can solve them. What can? Can artificial intelligence? Maybe, maybe not. Let's talk about it. Let's do some research. So this is a paper which takes that idea of sort of keep it simple, stupid. If you've ever heard that little witticism, where basically what they did is attack a baseline. Basically, Atari. Yes, the old Atari games. Those are very often used. The old Atari games are very often used to test different AIs, because it's a great, it's just a great test bed for so many reasons. And it's fun, right? It's Atari. Hell yeah. Back to the 80s. Escape from New York. What is this, 2020? Okay. With Kurt Russell. So, this paper achieves state-of-the-art in a lot of different ways, and sort of as far as its results they're incredible. But what we're focused on really is this here. We're talking about an algorithm. Calm down. Note, no equations. No equations, just a block of text, which I will attempt to reconcile, maybe with pictures, but for now, just audio. So, what did they do to achieve these great results? Well, they did essentially two things. One of which is they embraced the sort of imagination component of, don't just live in the real world, also live in your mind, because that's so much cheaper, you know? Don't learn from your own mistakes. Don't make the mistakes. Know that, learn how the world works a little bit and then figure out, oh, if I did that bad thing, I would know the outcome would also be bad. And vice versa. You do a good thing, you get a good reward and such. So, that sounds nice, and that's not new. Model-based reinforcement learning is what this is called. However, what is new is trying to do that well, because it's really hard. It's really hard to try and understand everything from first principles. It sounds great on paper, it's better in the long run, and much of the time it's literally intractable. It cannot be computed, halting problems and NP equals P and these things. But you literally can't compute why you were offensive in that moment. You can't, these things cannot literally be computed. However, you can learn maybe you shouldn't swear at people for no reason whatsoever. Maybe you should take a shower once in a while. So these sort of higher level, these compressed pieces of information. At every one of these steps, the model predicts the policy. For example, the move to play. What do you do? What are you going to do? The value function, the predicted winner. How good is this going to be? Is this going to turn out well, or is this going to turn out badly? And the immediate reward, the points scored by playing a move. Ooh. Your immediate visceral reaction, oh, I just got $10. So you want to know what to do, how it's going to turn out, and how you're doing right now. Thinking fast and slow with a purpose. Basically, that's how I'm abstracting it. There is no direct constraint or requirement for the hidden state to capture all information necessary to reconstruct the original observation, drastically reducing the amount of information the model has to maintain and predict. Nor is there any requirement for the hidden state to match the unknown true state of the environment, nor any other constraints on the semantics of the state. Basically, we don't really care what is true. We don't really care what reality is. We do care what is effective. We do care what we can actually learn, what we can actually remember, and what we can actually do. Pragmatism. Praxis. Somebody just got very angry. That's okay. I ask you to consult expert systems and knowledge engineering and their countless failures. Okay. Which does not mean we cannot. This does not preclude explainable AI. This is still something that is important and likely possible, but is not the same as hard and fast truths. They are true, but not useful. We want something that is useful and correlates to truth. How's that? Is that fine? Can we do that? When I was a wee lad, and not that wee of a lad, this was my favorite verse, which is, I'll read it because that's fun. Matthew 6:33, in the King James Version, because we like to be posh and stuff. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. I was less infatuated with the first bit and more astonished at the second bit, which is, all these things shall be added unto you. Basically, it's going to be okay. Things are going to pan out. If you just do this one thing, you're going to get to where you need to go. Is this true? It's not the point. It's not the point. The point is of focus. There's so much noise. There's so much, internal and external. The world is saying a lot of things. There's a lot of people saying things. There's a lot of just, requirements, like your body telling you, you have to go to the bathroom. Just go. You can pause the video. And then there are, there's many things vying for your attention, and you need some way to shut them out. This is one of them. This is the algorithm describing how to do that in kind of a new way. Reinforcement learning is this in a more stripped down version. This is kind of a different layer of that model, considering the environment you live in and how to abstract that away, or abstract that usefully. This is the level of simplicity that huge advances in AI can require. This is so obvious. It's so obvious. Keep it simple, stupid. That's the whole thing. That's literally all you had to do. Boom, state of the art, make the news. Google gives DeepMind a few million more dollars because, goodness, look how well my son has done. Don't mess with me or my son ever again. And yet, did you think of it? Did I think of it? No. Hindsight is 2020, and 2020 was the best year of all time. It might even wake us up. Probably not, but maybe. So, just because something is obvious in hindsight does not at all mean that it is obvious. There's a Patreon. No pressure, but pressure. I don't need a lot of money, but I do need some. So, feel free to use your own mind and thoughts to allocate your power in the world. Because the point of philosophy is to change the world. Revolution!